Fox Sports.
We are Blackmore. We are the Lions.
I sure could use an attaboy or a big old high five. I'd love to hear you're killing it, dude. Yeah, it's been a long time since I hit one out of the park or nailed it, as they say. I guess I've been in a dry spell, but that's about to change.
Bradley with a drive deep down the right field line. Gone!
And I'll be crushing it. Oh, I'll be crushing it.
You can forget about this baby. Long gone. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Diving! Oh my goodness! Oh, he got him! Gone in the home run park! Opening night in the Lone Star State. From Minute Maid Park in downtown Houston, Texas, the Cleveland Indians invade to take on the Houston Astros. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. Excited to be back and bringing you another season of Indians baseball here on Sports Time Ohio. And what a matchup we have right out of the gate with Corey Kluber taking the hill for the Tribe against Dallas Keuchel of the Houston Astros. Corey Kluber coming off a Cy Young season. He was magnificent. 18 wins, 269 strikeouts. Well-deserved of the Cy Young Award.
No question about it, man. Corey Kluber had such a consistent year with the way he went out and approached all 34 of his starts. The command, the consistency, and coming off and signing a 5-year deal, which is so good for the Cleveland Indians. They're going back to years of old. They're locking up their players. Tito Francona is buying into it. He's signed. Good things are happening in Cleveland, and Corey Kluber is just one of them.
Yeah, they've got a really good core nucleus signed up for the long haul, and everybody's talking Tribe. They've been picked to win it all by a number of media outlets, and that's caught the eye of everyone inside and outside the Indians clubhouse.
I don't think anybody really has paid attention to outside expectations. You know, the expectations of our club are always going to be high. But if you start thinking about the finishing line, you're going to miss what we're supposed to be doing now, which was, like all spring, getting our work done and getting ready. Now the expectation is today we'll show up and try to beat Houston.
Now, as Terry said, as a professional athlete, you can't worry about what people outside the clubhouse are saying about your team. You've got to take care of your own business. But from where you and I sit, there is good reason to be optimistic about this team, and it all starts with that starting pitching.
Yeah, well, it does. But you're not going to fool anybody if you're the Cleveland Indians. People know you are a good team. They're going to have to go out there. They're no longer there. They're hunted now. People are going to come after them, but players are buying into it. With Francona signing a new extension, now you've got Kluber coming on. Hopefully we got Carrasco coming on. You got Kipnis, you got Gomes, you got Brantley. You've got guys buying into the program, and I think that bodes well for the city of Cleveland, for the organization of Cleveland, and for the players.
No question about it. And it all starts tonight for the 2015 edition of the Cleveland Indians. They'll take on a hungry Houston Astros team that won 70 games last year, and that was a 19-game improvement from the year before. Indians Astros opening night in Houston, and the first pitch is coming up next. Cleveland Indians baseball is brought to you by WB Mason, the official office supplier of the Cleveland Indians. By McDonald's, I'm loving it. By your local Toyota dealers. Visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. And by the injury lawyers at Elk & Elk, proud sponsors of the Cleveland Indians. Call 1-800-ELK, Ohio. Downtown Houston, the roof is open here at Minute Maid Park as we get ready for the season opener. Cleveland Indians against the Houston Astros. Matt Underwood, Rick Manning back with you here at the ballpark. And let's introduce our new teammate, the third member of our broadcast team, Andre Knott, who's down in the Tribe dugout. And this is an offense that's looking to have a big year, Andre.
Absolutely, Matt, it is. And, you know, a lot of people, when they talk about the offense, they talk about all the left-handers that are in the lineup. And today they'll go against the left-handed pitcher. And in talking to Michael Bourn and Brandon Moss, two of the lefties that the Indians will count on, they go, look, we don't care if it's a lefty or a righty on the mound today. We just want to go out and get our swings. They're both said they're healthy and they like it. And the other thing going against Dallas Keuchel is this. He's a guy that gets the ball low in the strike zone. For Michael Bourn said he has no problem with that. And Moss goes, hey, I'm a left-handed guy. I like driving the ball when it's low. Matter of fact, Brandon Moss was back in the batting cage just like 10 minutes ago getting ready for this game. So it should be fun to see what these lefties can do against Keuchel.
Yeah, I imagine a lot of these players, Rick, are like caged lions. They can't wait to get out on the field.
Well, that's right. That's opening day, and that's what it does to you. But for Keuchel, he's a guy that keeps the ball down, the best ground ball to fly ball ratio in baseball last year. So you got to make him elevate the baseball, and hopefully they can get a couple in the air.
Our window system's game time temperature 79 degrees, a little bit on the humid side. Otherwise, absolutely perfect. Wasn't sure we'd even see the roof open because we had a lot of rain yesterday and early today, but it is almost ideal here at game time. There is Dallas Keuchel, the left-hander, 12-game winner a season ago. Let's have a look at Terry Francona's starting lineup for the Cleveland Indians, brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Michael Bourn leading it off, followed by Jason Kipnis, Michael Brantley. Three lefties at the top of the order. Switch hitting Carlos Santana bats cleanup. Then Yan Gomes, a right-handed bat, hitting fifth. What a season he had a year ago. Big left-handed power bat, Brandon Moss is sixth. Then it's Ryan Rayburn from the right side. Lonnie Chisenhall, the left-handed hitter. And Jose Ramirez, the switch hitter, will bat ninth.
It'll be 27-year-old Dallas Keuchel on the mound, who was 12-9 for these Astros last year. It's our Northern Ohio Honda dealer starting pitcher for the Houston Astros. And the left-hander, change-up, sinker. He'll move that fastball around. He keeps it down, make him elevate. You can see he went with 200 innings last year. Gave up 11 home runs. So this guy will keep it around play. If you see ground balls, he's on top of his game.
Michael Bourn steps in for Cleveland. And we're just about ready to go. Bourn a year ago, twice landed on the disabled list. Hamstring injuries appear to be a thing of the past. Worked out very hard and diligently in the offseason. Right here in his native Houston. Former Olympian Leroy Burrell came to spring training. He looked like a different guy from the one we saw a year ago. Very committed. And he was running well. We're underway as Dallas Keuchel delivers a first pitch strike.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, he's already complaining on the first pitch of the ball game. So we'll see what happens here. Ted Barrett said it's a strike. Bourne's saying no, this ball is going to be a little bit low. Check it out on our Nissan pitch tracker. He's absolutely right. It was low. He's saying not the first pitch of the game.
Bourne bounces it towards second base, and Jose Altuve throws it out. One away.
Let's take a look at the Astros defense, brought to you by Chrysler. In the outfield, it's going to be Rasmus and Marisnik at center, Springer in right. Valbuena's at third, Lowry in short. Altuve is at second, Carter at first with Castro doing the catching.
In addition to crew chief Ted Barrett, who's calling the balls and strikes tonight, Angel Hernandez is at first, Scott Berry at second, Chris Conroy down at third. Now here's Jason Kipnis. And Keuchel gets it over for a first pitch strike. Kipnis looking to bounce back this year. The oblique injury really bothered him last year, to the point where it altered his swing and the way he was able to, in the past, drive the ball to the opposite field. Last year he was unable to do that. He said, I ended up just hitting a lot of weak ground balls to the right side of the infield.
Well, 2 years ago, Kipnis could hit left-handers. Him and Brantley were as good as it gets, against left-handed pitching. So if he's on his game, that's why he's in the number 2 hole right now. Let's get out of the chute and see what you can do.
Michael Brantley waits on deck. And Kipnis, a little lazy pop to left. In comes Colby Rasmus. 2 away. Here are the keys to the game, brought to you by Wayside Furniture. Looking for Michael Bourne to be the catalyst at the top of the order. Keep Jose Altuve in check, the reigning American League batting champ. And better defense from what we saw a year ago. A defense that was much improved over the second half of the season.
Yeah, I think maybe consistent defense would be the key.
Yep.
Just stay consistent and make all the plays you were supposed to make.
Consistent is how you define Michael Brantley. .327 batting average a year ago, 20 home runs, 97 driven in. Third in the MVP balloting, won the Silver Slugger Award. And like Jose Altuve, very well could be a consistent 200 hit guy.
Boy, that's hard to do.
It is, but
it's hard to get number one. When you get him, you know you have to play at least 150, if not more games than that.
Brantley, a bouncer to first, and it will be an easy 1-2-3 inning for Dallas Keuchel as the Astros left-hander retires the side in order. Houston is coming to bat. In Houston, Corey Kluber on the hill for the Tribe. Let's take a look at the Houston Astros starting lineup presented by Toyota under first-year manager A.J. Hinch. Jose Altuve, the batting champ, leads it off. Then it's George Springer, followed by Luis Valbuena, the former Indian, batting third. Evan Gattis cleanup, Chris Carter fifth, and Jason Castro. Switch hitting Jed Lowry seventh, Colby Rasmus, and Jake Marisnick rounded out.
Northern Ohio Honda dealer starting pitcher for today's game, Corey Kluber. You can see his numbers from last year, coming off a new 5-year deal. He's got to be thrilled. The season starts, the contract's done. He can concentrate on one thing: go out and pitch and give him some innings and be as consistent as you can.
How refreshing to hear the story that Kluber went to the Indians and said, look, I want to be here. Ideally, I'd like this to be a lifetime contract. And the Indians awarded Kluber a 5-year extension with 2 options, so potentially could be a 7-year deal. You never know how these things are going to play out, but
you know, it's a great fit for him. It's a win-win by both teams, and that's how you like deals to work.
Kluber deals. Oh, Altuve pops it up, and Santana's over near the railing but can't get to it.
Altuve, the guy that led the league in hitting last year as far as base hits go, he comes up and he's an aggressive hitter. You've got to make quality pitches from the very first pitch. I was a little surprised to see him take the first one, to be honest with you.
What a year Altuve had. Leading all of baseball with the 225 hits.
Yeah, Craig Biggio threw out the first pitch. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame for the Astros, and he broke his record. He had, what, 210 or 11 hits, and he broke that record. He caught the first pitch from Biggio.
And as Terry Francona said before the game, to do what Altuve has done at his size is not that easy. A little slow roller, but foul.
Well, he's been battling odds his whole life. When you're, they have him listed at 5'6". You go up and stand next to him, and that may be a stretch, but you know, he's a tough guy, and boy, what a competitor.
You talk about him passing Biggio for the Astros in terms of the hits as a second baseman. The last guy to have that many hits in a baseball season as a second baseman was Charlie Gehringer in 1936.
Okay. I was going to say, guess maybe Rod Carew back when he was playing second base.
Up the middle, but cutting it off is Jose Ramirez, and he throws him out and away.
Take a look at the Indians defense, brought to you by Chrysler. In the outfield, left to right, it'll be Brantley, Bourne, and Moss. On the infield, third to first, Chisenhall, Ramirez, Kipnis, and Santana, with Gomes doing the catching.
Very exciting young player for the Houston Astros, George Springer. Hit 20 home runs and only played in 78 games last year.
Well, when we were here in September, he was on the disabled list. We did not see him.
Hits this one pretty well at deep right center, but Bourne is back onto the track and hauls it down 2 away. But Springer shows you that big swing, opposite field, pretty good power right there. Hit it to the 373 alley. Came up a few feet short, but yeah, he had a left quad strain that derailed his season a year ago, which is why we never saw him in that 4-game series here in Houston in September, in which the Indians took 3 out of 4 from Houston. Former Indian Luis Valbueno spent the last 3 years with the Chicago Cubs. Came over to Houston in the Dexter Fowler trade. Bottom of the strike zone. Kluber gets ahead.
Well, that'd be a good place to pitch tonight so far from what we see. Ted Barrett calling those pitches down in the zone. And Valbuena's a good low ball hitter too, by the way.
Swung on and missed. Kluber with that little cutter.
Yeah.
Boy, that has been such an effective pitch. Not only for him, Rick, the pitchers are seeing the success he's having, and it's a copycat effect. Everybody wants to learn how to throw it and use their own variation of it.
Well, right there, it is a fastball, but it moves late, and you can see Valbuena started his swing and couldn't hold up, and it was nowhere close to being a strike.
Bounce to second. Kipnis is there. And a 1-2-3 first inning for Corey Kluber. No score after 1 in Houston.
Baseball is back in 2015 with the MLB.com at bat on your smartphone or tablet. Stay connected with live radio broadcast, stats, breaking news, and more. You can download MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball.
Well, Rick, both starting pitchers couldn't have scripted the first inning to go any better. They each needed 9 pitches to retire the side 1-2-3.
That doesn't surprise me, boy. I mean, with pitchers that get ahead, they throw a lot of strikes. You want to be ready from that first pitch.
Carlos Santana looks at a strike over the outside corner. Santana, you look at a year ago, you kind of scratch your head. 27 home runs, very good. 113 walks, outstanding. But the 231 average, you know, to hit for that kind of power and have that many walks, you would think the average by default would be higher than that.
He got off to such a horrendous start. The first 2 months of the season, he could never recover.
Well, he took a big swing and came up empty. First K for Dallas Keuchel, 1 away. Santana thought he caught a piece of that, and now Terry Francona's out to ask Ted Barrett. The injury report brought to you by the injury lawyers at Elk & Elk. You should take a look at the Indians who start the season on the disabled list. Nick Swisher of that group is actually here with the club, and he'll head back to Cleveland to continue his rehab work. Now Yan Gomes takes a look. It's a called strike. There is Swish. Well, we saw doing a lot of work in Goodyear on the agility fields, trying to get the wheels back in shape. Then we saw him have an opportunity to play in some sim games, got some minor league work, and ultimately got in some major league spring training games as well. But still no real timetable for his return.
You don't set a time for that. And I'll tell you, he should be back in Arizona, I think, tomorrow in that nice warm weather, working those legs and getting everything ready.
Just off the plate. Yan Gomes last year led American League catchers in batting average, OPS, and extra base hits, which helped earn him the Silver Slugger Award. Boy, nice changeup by Keuchel.
He has a good little two-seam sinker and the changeup.
Doesn't throw it a lot, but boy, this was an effective use of it.
And this is what takes you off the fastball. He likes to hit that pound that side of the plate, but when you pull the string, that's how a lot of guys will roll over on the baseball and get easy ground ball outs.
Oh, man.
Cut it inside.
Back-to-back strikeouts for Keuchel here in the second.
Keuchel's had success against the Indians. His very first start he made against them, he had a complete game. And there's the little breaking ball going down and in, buries it. You swing over the top. That's following that changeup down and away. So he uses both part of the plate. But his third start, so he's pitched very well against the Tribe. His first opening day start.
Here's Brandon Moss. This is an Indians team that comes back this year. 23 of the 25 guys on this roster played for Cleveland a year ago. Brandon Moss, and on the bullpen, Anthony Swarzak. They're the only newcomers on the ball club this year. Moss, though, is expected to be a guy that gives them that legitimate home run threat in the middle of the order. Tonight batting sixth, and a lot of that Terry Francona explained before the game has to do with the fact that you've got a left-hander on the hill, so he's trying to give the lineup a little bit of balance. Moss checks just outside of 0-2 strikes.
Keuchel is the sixth change in opening day starters over the last 6 years. It was Oswalt, Myers, Rodriguez, Norris, and Feldman that started the 5 previous years.
Yeah, 27 years old. He earned this opening day starter.
Yes.
He led Houston last year in wins, innings pitched, complete games.
Had a nice
second
year
in
for
strikeouts in the ERA.
You know, and between these two teams, even though Indians won the battle, they were well-pitched games that the Indians ended up winning.
And he's got a pretty impressive beard to go along with all those stats.
He worked on that in the offseason as well.
You think?
Yeah. You know, physically, that's not the only thing. And Kluber's starting his, but he's got a ways to go. Got a couple more years.
Moss, a swing and a miss, and Dallas Keuchel strikes out the side here in the second. Corey Kluber going back to work. 11 times last year he struck out 10 or more in a game. Let's see if he gets the strikeout pitch coming when we return. Second inning, and it's time now for our great clip as we go back to a year ago. Actually, it wasn't even a year. It wasn't that long ago. Our last trip to Houston in September, and Corey Kluber went out and was simply dominant. 14 strikeouts against this Astros club in his career. He's 3-0 against Houston. 24 Ks, 3 walks. He's allowed 3 runs in the 3 games he's pitched.
Well, I don't think it's not fresh in the minds of the Astros either, because they remember how good he was against them last year. Hey, why not get the best right out of the chute, huh?
Big swinging Evan Gattis at the dish here in the bottom of the second for Houston, DHing.
Matter of fact, this is the 6th time that Houston, as a franchise, has a history of facing the Cy Young Award winner. And they've lost 4 out of those 5 games. The only time they won a game was John Smoltz back in 1997. They won 2-1. They lost to Halladay, Lincecum, Peavy, and Glavine.
Yeah. Now, Evan Gattis had some pretty good power numbers playing for Atlanta last 2 years. Combined 43 homers, 38 doubles. Well, he's a guy, looks like a lumberjack playing baseball.
Yeah, big and strong, and searches that heater.
So almost chased after it, but he was able to check, and it's 2-2. That 14 strikeout performance Kluber had against Houston last year. One of the 11 games in which he struck out 10 or more. That's the 4th best single season in Cleveland Indians history. And you're talking about some really good pitchers on that list.
No doubt. He was spectacular. It was fun to watch.
3-2 pop to left center. Brantley cruising over. 1 away. Time for our Buick stat of the game. And among the Indians' all-time greats, Bob Feller and Sam McDowell, the only 2 pitchers who had a more prolific strikeout season.
Sam happened to do it four times. That's how good he was and the kind of stuff that he had.
Yeah.
Sudden Sam, of course, we know Herb had a tremendous arm when he first came up. Louis Tion. And then Bob Feller again a couple more times. So just a tremendous year for Kluber to just break into the top 10 with those names.
Chris Carter, big power bat in the middle of their lineup, sends a lazy fly to center.
Didn't give him any swinging room.
2 down.
Ran a little two-seamer inside, and that's what you like to do to the big power hitters. If you let them stay there and extend the arm, you see he couldn't get comfortable and get those arms out in front. So hit a little weak fly ball. That's what you like to do to those guys.
You know, we saw earlier today watching baseball all over the league, Tanaka of the Yankees tried to throw a two-seamer inside to Edwin Encarnacion of the Blue Jays, but he didn't get it in, and Encarnacion hit it in the left field seats.
Yeah, he can take anybody deep, so you better make your pitches. That's how those guys make a living.
Kluber gets ahead of Jason Castro on the first pitch strike. Turns out of the way. It was just off the plate.
That's a good pitch. That's a pitch he throws left-handers when he's on his game. It comes back over the plate, and it locks him up because they give up on that pitch. He took that one, and then he also cuts it in there. There's the cutter. So you can cut it, and now when you get to 2 strikes, sometimes you go that pitch, that front hip, and it comes back. He followed that little comebacker with the cutter, so it went the other way. Now, right now, if you're Castro, you're thinking, boy, I don't know what he's going to do. But you may be looking inside. There it is.
Swing and a miss. He tied him up. Kluber gets his first strikeout, and the Astros go 1-2-3. We are scoreless through 2 in what looks to be a terrific pitching matchup tonight. That's residential living over there.
That's the pigeons up there looking in.
Folks, a little rooftop party overlooking the left field wall here at Minute Maid Park.
Yeah, this is a lot different with the roof open.
Oh,
Last time we were here,
different
yeah,
ballpark,
I like it with it open. It's
Yeah.
it's tough to see in here, from at least from back here, because it's so enclosed. I like the roof open.
Now, the natives tell us that here in July and August, you don't want to be out here with the roof open.
I understand that. You know, when you're down in Houston, the humidity in this city is very bad.
Pretty stifling. Ryan Rayburn in the DH spot tonight for the Tribe takes a strike.
Keuchel has been perfect now. He's 7 for 7 first pitch strikes, and Kluber's right behind him.
Well, the other thing that I've noticed here at the outset, Rick, is he's working at a pretty good tempo. He's getting it.
Yeah.
Getting on the rubber.
Well, pitchers are the one that set the tempo. They get the ball, they get into it, and they go. And that's why it's easier for hitters to stay in the box when the pitchers are working at such a pace. And these two pitchers are pounding the strike zone, so when you get that toe into the batter's box as a hitter, you better be ready tonight, because they're both pounding the strike zone.
Down and in.
It's the only time you get a chance to maybe lose that toe hold and get out is when a ball goes into the dirt there. Ryan Rayburn getting the start tonight as the DH. The right-hander against the lefty. They'd love to have him have a comeback year.
Got a fastball that tops it up the third base line. Keuchel takes it. Fires a perfect strike to first to retire Rayburn.
Tell you what, he made a good play. He had a long way to go. And he was the only one that was going to get that ball. And that was like a perfect bunt. But it was a swing. And he tops it, and you couldn't roll it out there. Here comes Castro out, and Keuchel called him off. It makes the play, and it's a nice play. Plants, that left-hander, just turned through the ball.
And that's hard to say who it's an easier play for. Both players have to turn their back to first base. Either one. If the catcher, he's got to turn his back. Same for Keuchel. But he had the momentum, and more important than anything, he was decisive. One thing that screws up a play like that in baseball is indecision. You're not sure what to do. If you take charge, usually good things happen.
That was a very good play.
Lonnie Chisenhall, line drive, base hit in the left field, as the Indians have their first base runner tonight on a solid single by Chisenhall.
Nice swing. Lonnie had a nice year against left-handers last year, and with this approach, you will continue to have it. You see him off the plate, and that was a pretty good pitch away. He just stayed on it, let the ball track deep into the hitting zone, and slaps it to left field. So the first hit of the ball game.
1-on-1 out now for Jose Ramirez. Switch hitter at the bottom of the lineup.
That's a good thing, too. You get him out of the full windup and now get him into the stretch, because he was very comfortable out there. And last year, he was a better pitcher on the road, Keuchel was, than he was at home. He was a 4-5 here, but he had a nice ERA. He had a better ERA in this ballpark, 2.79. But he won 8 games away from this ballpark.
Jose Ramirez, really interesting that since 1994, he's only the 4th Indian shortstop to be in an opening day starting lineup. Swing and a miss. A ball and 2 strikes.
Well, you're talking about the Vizquel
Johnny
era.
Peralta, and Asdrubal Cabrera, and now Jose Ramirez. Ramirez a low, slow chopper to third, scooped by Valbuena, and he goes across the diamond to get Chisenhall, or to get Ramirez, as Chisenhall moves into scoring position. 2 down here in the 3rd.
KeyBank Kids tickets start at just $10 for kids 12 and under with the purchase of an adult ticket. Kids tickets are located in the new family deck out at Progressive Field, and it's home to the expanded kids clubhouse out there in right field. So log on to Indians.com and check on your kids tickets today.
Now here's Michael Bourne, whose season got off to a rocky start. First pitch of the game was barely above his shoe tops, and it was called a strike. He wound up with a ground ball to second base. It was a routine out. Bourne very good at shooting the ball toward left field, so maybe he takes a page from Lonnie Chisenhall's book.
Well, he had a good spring, and he hit the ball to all parts of the ballpark when we saw it.
Boy, on the appeal, they said Bourne went too far, and he's in the hole. Well, 0-2.
Now you talk about battling, you have to battle. Let's check it out from the side. There it goes, close enough. They called it, so now 0-2. Now you're in a very defensive position to try and just put it in play, and you can see where Rasmus in left field is playing very shallow. Base hit there. I don't think Chisenhall scores.
Yeah, with the 315 down the left field line, you've got the big wall, so the left fielder can play more shallow here, almost like a Fenway Park.
Well, yeah, you use that as a friend if you're the left fielder. Make them drive it over your head. Anything in front of you, the man will not score from second base here.
Bourne works the count back to even. We saw him do this a number of times in spring training. Get down 0-2, work the count, get to a full count, end up making something good happen.
Yeah. Well, Keuchel, a guy that keeps the ball down. You know, a lot of times guys will try and go upstairs and get him to swing at the pitch, and Michael will chase.
Hit it right at Lowry, who throws him out. So the Indians get their first hit, but they strand them in scoring position. We'll go to the bottom of the third. No score in Houston. Well, just to remind you, it's stay tuned for Miller Time later in the game, brought to you by Miller Lite. No score, bottom of the third, bottom third of the Astros order due here. Jed Lowry, Colby Rasmus, and Jake Marisnick. Corey Kluber, 6 up, 6 down. 3 fly ball outs, a couple of ground ball outs, 1 strikeout. And a first pitch strike to Jed Lowry, who spent the last 2 years with the Oakland Athletics, signing back with the Astros, a club he had played for previously as a free agent this offseason. 2 years ago, Lowry had a fantastic year for the A's. Last year, not as great.
He's a little different year. 6 home runs, 50 ribbies.
Hit on the ground to first. Santana bobbles it. Kluber's there to cover the bag. 1 away. Kluber is one of those guys who pays very close attention to detail, and from a work standpoint, he's a guy who's not going to be outworked, let's put it that way, by anybody in the game. And there's a perfect example of it right there. If you just assume, well, it's a routine ground ball, my first baseman's going to make that play on his own, you hesitate for a moment with a left-handed hitter at the plate, and you're not at the bag in time. You see a guy who doesn't take anything for granted, just very fundamentally sound.
As the year goes on, you can't do that because a lot of time coming right out of spring training with all the PFP that these guys do, you shouldn't take anything for granted.
Colby Rasmus, swing and a miss. Another look at Kluber.
Anytime that ball goes to the right side, your job as a pitcher is to get over there without hesitation. It should just be instinct built into you, and you can tell it was right there.
Yeah. This is inside, and the count evens at 1-1. Rasmus has played 6 years in the big leagues with St. Louis and Toronto. Signing with the Astros in the offseason, one of their free agent acquisitions. I think he's a guy that Houston is banking on that he'll be able to stay on the field. Last 4 years, 4 times he's been on the disabled list.
Well, you have to stay on the field. He has some pop, but consistency. He has a lot of holes in his swing, but he's not a very big guy, but there's some pop in the bat. 18 homers last year. Good pitch.
Boy, just missing in the count. 3-1. See the number 7 on Corey Kluber's right sleeve. The Indians will wear that patch in honor of the late Al Rosen, who passed away during spring training. One of the Indians' all-time greats. 3-1. And it's ball 4. First base runner for the Astros. And Jake Marisnick will be the batter. Marisnick, a guy who has been involved in a couple of big trades already in his career. Swing and a miss. He was originally a Toronto Blue Jay, but he went to Miami in that whole wild off-season swap a couple of years back.
For Burley. And,
yeah, Burley and Jose Reyes, Josh Johnson.
Right.
Last year it was a deadline deal that sent him from Miami here to Houston. And a strike is called. Two quick strikes. Broken bat bouncer slowly hit to Kipnis. His only play is at first, 2 down.
Well, at least he put it in play with 2 strikes to get that runner into scoring position. When you're hitting down 9th, I thought maybe early in the count they may try and do something.
Last year, Jose Altuve became the Astros all-time single-season hits leader against the Tribe with that base hit off Corey Kluber. Craig Biggio was in attendance, flanked by the Ryans, Nolan, and Reed. Tonight, before the ball game, winning the batting title and having that fantastic season a year ago, Altuve was given a brand new automobile and a diamond ring. Not too shabby.
Oh, nice. Well, just be careful here. First pitch. He took the first one. You have to make a quality pitch with 2 outs and a man in scoring position to this guy, because very aggressive, as I said earlier.
Low and away, ball 1. There is Nolan Ryan in the front row, and his son Reed, who is the Houston Astros team president, sitting behind him. That's why you're the team president, but your dad gets to sit in the front row.
Well,
you got to sit in the
I
back.
know why. Here's the Hall of Famer in front of you. That's why.
He won a lot more games than you, right?
No doubt. He's one of the reasons why you are where you are.
Yeah, his son Reed was a pitcher in college, I believe at TCU, and then a couple of years in the minor leagues before getting into the executive side of the baseball business. Done a terrific job in the minor leagues. Now trying to help build the Astros back into a playoff contender. There are high hopes here in Houston, despite the fact that You know, from 2011 to 2013, they lost 324 games.
Yeah, well over 100 games every year, 105. Last year they stopped the bleeding, and you know they got to 70. And I think their target, I mean, would be, sure, I mean, coming out of spring, you'd like to be 500, if not better. But I mean, 500 would be another big turnaround for them, I think.
Well, I think, you know, on one hand, they look at it like, you're making strides. You got a new manager, A.J. Hinch, new coaching staff. You've got young players, but they made some off-season acquisitions to supplement with some veteran players here and there.
They had to shore up their bullpen. That's the number one thing they had to do.
And you know, they didn't finish in last place last year either, so that was a big step
for the first time in a long time.
The 2-1. That was that
Nice
honor went
pitch
to their in-state rivals, the injury-riddled Texas Rangers. Last year finished dead last.
Really good pitch here. Look at Altuve wants it, but that ball continued to run in.
Yeah, it sure did. Ate him up inside, but a 2-2 count. Terry Francona said before the game, Jose Altuve is one of those guys you hate to see him up there with runners in scoring position.
You do, because he can hit anything. He has a pretty good knack of getting the barrel to the ball and putting it in play.
Swing and a miss. Kluber strikes him out.
Worked him over very well.
Masterful job of pitching by the Cy Young Award winner. His second strikeout of the night. Scoreless through 3.
Bar with the $13 district ticket. It's presented by Sports Time Ohio. The new bar is the best bet in town to grab a cold one. And with the district ticket, your first drink is on us. Go to Indians.com and check out the details.
Dallas Keuchel working into the 4th inning. He's allowed just 1 base hit, has not walked a batter, and has struck out 3. Jason Kipnis has flied to left his first time up and takes a called strike on the outside corner.
Well, so far that first time through, the pitchers have pretty much dominated.
Fastball inside. Kipnis turned on it, but behind the bag, Carter able to make the play, 1 down. Our Kia in the driver's seat is Michael Brantley. And when you take a look at what Brantley did a year ago, winning the Silver Slugger Award, batted .327, 20 homers, 97 runs batted in. He also had 45 doubles and 23 stolen bases. So he's the first Cleveland Indian to have 200 to amass those kind of numbers, and playing in 156 games as well. I mean, it's sometimes you look at stats But when you put it in that perspective, the first Cleveland Indian to have 200 hits, 45 doubles, 20 homers, 20 steals, played 156 games.
He did it all and played a solid left field. I mean, that's not even talking about his defense. And I thought he played a really good left field as well. That's very impressive. That's a year that, you know, they don't come around.
And I know what you're saying in that you can't take what a guy did and because the injury, you just never know how a player health-wise is going to hold up. And if you're going to get 200 hits, you've got to be able to play every day in order to amass those kind of numbers. But if Michael Brantley is able to stay healthy and stay on the field, then I think that he, because of his approach, he's a 200-hit guy.
Well,
now can he do it every year? Not even the great Paul Molitor could do it every year.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's a very difficult plateau to reach every year. So, I mean, it's a goal for every hitter. Let's get 200 hits. If you can do it year at Pete Rose is one of the best at doing it, but not many guys.
2-2 count for Brantley. Just kind of served it over to the left side of the infield. Baltimore with the shift on was right there. They'll throw him out. 2 down. Here's Al Pulaski now with our Mazda game break. All right, thanks, Al. In that ball game, the White Sox starter Jeff Samardzija gave up a home run to Mike Moustakas, and then the next guy up was Lorenzo Cain. He hit him with a pitch, and it was almost on right away on opening day between those two clubs.
Oh, don't worry, they only have 18 more to go.
Here's Carlos Santana looking at a ball outside, and it's 1-1. Santana struck out his first time up. Santana, who has a terrific eye at the plate, as evidenced by the 113 walks he amassed last year. Looks outside, 3-1.
Let's see what he does when he falls behind the hitter. He's been so good at getting ahead of him. That's his first 3-ball count of the night. There's your pitch to hit right there. Got a fastball and you fouled it off. That's the pitch you want to put in play. He goes right at him. He wanted to throw a strike, and boy, it doesn't get much better than that. He just went over the top of it, maybe got a little big with the swing.
Last Indian that led the majors in walks was Jack Graney in 1919. Santana tells you how good he is when it comes to plate discipline. Draws a 2-out walk here to keep the inning alive. That'll bring up Yan Gomes, who went down swinging his first time up. But Gomes, Rick, it's hard to put up the kind of season he had a year ago, and I'm talking the whole package, what he did offensively and with how well he did behind the plate, piloting one of his starters to the Cy Young Award winner, and seemingly be under the radar in terms of the national attention scope.
That was his first time playing every day. Nobody knew who Yan Gomes was. Okay, he was part of a trade coming from Toronto. They didn't know if he had a position, and he took advantage of the opportunity given to him. And you look to see more opportunity. He's going to be out there. He's going to be doing the bulk of the catching. He learned a lot in the 1 year, and he's going to continue to learn.
Trying to dig himself out of a big hole here. Keuchel ahead in the count, 0-2. Keuchel's been ahead all night long. 13 out of 14 first pitch strikes for the Astros left-hander. He's walked his first. He's allowed only one hit. Almost have to hope, if you're the Indians, that Getting him out of the stretch might alter him.
Well, that and just be ready to hit that first pitch.
Soft liner right back to the Astros pitcher. And the inning is over. Middle of the fourth in Houston. We are still scoreless.
And Astros are tied up at 0 apiece. And so far, Corey Kluber's looked just like the guy that won the Cy Young in 2014. Right now, let's listen to the sounds of the game, brought to you by Here Right Audiology.
First, four-seam fastball. I don't throw it that often. We mix it in certain spots here and there. Most of the time, I'll throw a two-seam fastball just across those seams right there. My changeup is pretty much the same grip as that, just with those two fingers, and then the circle with the other ones. My cutter is basically, I take my four-seam fastball grip and just offset it a little bit, still throw it like a fastball. Just the offsetting it doesn't allow you to get through it quite as well, which causes it to cut. And then my breaking ball, basically again my two-seam grip, move my two fingers together and then just move my thumb up on the ball, and I'm trying to get out in front of it, get my fingers over the ball.
Corey Kluber taking you through his array of pitches. And I think it's always interesting to hear him talk about the grips and what he's trying to accomplish and what he wants each pitch to do.
Well, he does it consistently, boy, whatever he does.
George Springer flied to center his first time up, takes the ball down low, and it's 2-0. Springer sent Michael Bourne to the warning track in right center field back in the first. Over the outside corner, perfect pitch. 2-1. Perfect in that when you're ahead 2-0, you're not looking for a pitch on the outside corner.
Well, when you can paint it, that's fine, because hitters will cheat on you, but if they can't reach it, they're in the hitter's count. They're going to be a little more disciplined and take it.
Goes away, and then he comes right back in. Dots the inside corner to even the count.
That's why every pitcher has to have a go-to pitch when he's behind in the count that he knows he can throw a strike at will.
Oh, awfully close. And a full count.
Well, you see where Gomes is sitting. It's that comebacker. It's just a hair off the plate.
And the payoff pitch is swung on and missed. And cutter. That's Corey Kluber, his third strikeout of the night. Our T-Mobile game changer is Corey Kluber. And last year, 4 times he went out and pitched 9 innings without allowing a run, or walking a batter and striking out 8 or more.
That's impressive. He got on a run there for a while.
Look at the names on that
great
list.
names.
Hopefully one day when it's all over, we'll be looking back and talking about Corey Kluber in the same vein as some of those others on that list. Luis Valbuena grounded out his first time up.
Yeah, he hasn't given him swinging room yet. Remember the cutter he swung at that was way in off the plate his first at bat. He tied him up and he comes right back in there to get the first strike out there.
In a count, 0-2.
And that was his cutter that made a bad pitch with. But Valbuena followed off because he was been inside so much to him.
We saw him hit 10 home runs in a season for the Tribe. Are you a little surprised, though, he's been able to hit for the kind of moderate power last couple of years with the Cubs? 16 homers last year.
Wrigley Field, you get in there. It could be a hitter's paradise at times until the wind blows in. But he's a really good low ball hitter. He can pick it up and give it a ride. But I don't look at him as a number 3 hitter in a lineup where you're expecting to score a lot of runs.
$16 homers for Valbuena last year, 12 the season before that. Still his career major league batting average just .229. Ran it upstairs, tried to get him to chase, but as Rick told you, he's a guy that looks waist down. He's not looking for the ball above the waist.
No, but there's a chance you take him off that eye level when you get ahead of him 2 strikes to make him look up there, and you can drop that breaking ball down in the zone, and maybe he goes after it. You got another pitch that you can make him chase.
There's the curveball down in the dirt. Valbuena couldn't help himself. Back-to-back Ks for Kluber here in the 4th.
Yeah, he's starting to get his rhythm now. He and Gomes are locking in. And after he changes the eye level, he goes upstairs for a purpose pitch, and then he missed with that, but then he goes with the curveball down and out of the zone, and he gets Valbuena to chase. That's just a great way and a good sequence by Kluber and Gomes.
Two down, Evan Gattis, who flied to left his only time up. You know, I'm glad you mentioned it and said it the way you did, Kluber and Gomes, because Kluber gets the lion's share of the credit, and rightfully he should.
Right.
But Yan Gomes has grown leaps and bounds as a guy who has become a terrific guy behind the plate as a catcher, not just an offensive player who happens to be the catcher.
Well, think about how nice it is if you're back there catching and you put a sign down and he says, okay. Well, it's going to be right there. He's not diving in the dirt, blocking balls where guys can drive you absolutely crazy. This guy's like a day off when you're catching Kluber. That's how good he is.
Catch him in a rocking chair.
Oh, yeah. No kidding. Just sit down there, put down a finger. He says yes, and he hits your target. That's a fun day at the office there.
Two down here in the 4th. 1 ball, 1 strike count on Evan Gattis.
You know, and then once they get it clicking, and it seems like they are now their second time through, you know, you get ahead, and it's so much nicer when you're ahead in the count. Then hitters will start trying to get Kluber on the first pitch, where they had success last year. Doesn't want to give him swinging room.
Fastball line to left, right at Michael Brantley. And the side is retired in order here in the 4th. So Corey Kluber starting to get the strikeout pitch working. Fan 3 in a row before Gattis lines to left to end the inning. Still no score.
by your Northern Ohio Honda dealers. By the Cleveland Clinic. Call for an appointment today. And by the game-changing all-new Ford F-150. The future is tough. Downtown Houston, Texas. Minute Maid Park, roof open, beautiful night. No score. Great pitchers matchup. We thought this would be the type of game we're going to see tonight, and it has lived to that billing thus far.
Just one hit in the ball game to this point. Lonnie Chisenhall has that.
Chisenhall due up third here in the 5th inning. Brandon Moss struck out his first time up, leads it off for Cleveland. Dallas Keuchel, a strike throwing machine. 13 out of 14 first pitch strikes for the lefty. Up high to Moss. He's behind 2-0 for one of the few times tonight.
He had 1-3 ball count last inning to Santana.
Moss looks outside corner. 2-1. Out of play to even it up. Well, Brandon Moss had surgery for a torn labrum in his hip right after the season ended. He played through that injury last year. Hit 2 home runs in that wild card game for the A's against Kansas City in what was an epic postseason game. But he tried to power through it because he wanted to play, wanted to beat it, because he's what they call a great teammate. He wanted to be there to try to help his guys. Took the cortisone shot, tried to play through it, but obviously was not the same guy.
Well, he rose to the occasion in that game, though.
Sure did. Outside, ball 4.
That
Keuchel
was close.
has walked his second, but the Indians get their leadoff man aboard for the first time tonight.
You know, those are the tough pitches to take when a guy's been pounding the strike zone all night long and you get to a 3-2 count. Even though it was a ball, no question, he laid off of it. Sometimes you get a little anxious figuring you're going to get a strike and you get after it, but patient enough to take the walk.
So with the leadoff man aboard, Ryan Rayburn to the plate. Rayburn hit a little topper at the third baseline his first time up, and Dallas Keuchel came off the mound and made a good play to retire Rayburn. And Keuchel finds the outside corner to even the count at 1-1.
Boy, he stays out there, and then he's looking for a ground ball, so he can either stay out there and hope he gets you to pull it, or he pulls a string on that changeup and gets you to roll over it. So looking the other way would be a pretty good. See, they're calling everything on the check swings tonight.
1-2.
That was a little breaking ball. Let's see from the side. Well, close enough.
41 out of 65 pitches for Keuchel tonight have been strikes. Good block at the dish by Castro.
You're right here, Dallas. Come on.
Big hole on the right side for Rayburn if he can try to shoot Keuchel the other way, which isn't a bad approach when you've got a sinker baller on the hill. But he hits it right at the shortstop, Lowry. Taylor made double play ball, and it goes 6-4-3.
Well, he's been in command from the very first pitch of the ball game, even though he did get help on that one. But check his off-speed pitches. There's the breaking ball he uses occasionally. A good changeup right there. And that's what takes you off. Right now, if I'm a right-handed hitter, I'd make him throw that pitch for a strike. I wouldn't swing at his breaking ball because most of his pitches are away. The fastball and the changeup covering the outside part of the plate, and then he shows you that breaking ball coming in, and most of the time it's for a ball.
Well, he's a guy who you think of
You think of Dallas Keuchel, you think ground ball machine, which we just saw right there, double play ball. I mean, he's got a terrific ground ball to fly ball ratio. I mean, he led all of Major League Baseball by a wide margin last year. Is he changing up his approach because maybe the Indians have so many left-handed hitters in the lineup?
I don't think so. He's just going to stay with his strength right there. He's doing the thing he has to do.
But that's what I'm saying. If his strength is sinker balls, we're seeing a lot more bigger off-speed pitches and change-ups.
But those breaking balls, a lot of them are coming to the right-handers down and in to take them off that stuff on the outside part of the plate. Shows you inside right there. That fastball. See if he throws him something off speed away. Now it's 3-1. See, Chisenhall took him the other way the last time up. So he's not going to let him, look out there and just slap it.
Foul back. Got a fastball and a full count. Two down and the base is empty and a 3-2 count for Chisenhall. Inside ball 4. He's walked 2 in the inning and now 3 in the ball game. Fox Sports Live has all the highlights from the biggest games and the major newsmakers in the sports world tonight at 11 o'clock on Fox Sports 1. Jose Ramirez coming up now, grounded out his only time up back in the 3rd. Astros are a team that has leaned heavily on the analytics. When you look at the defensive alignment for Ramirez, and shortened up Springer in right field. Altuve, the second baseman, really shading Ramirez up the middle.
I'm a big believer when you get, little hitters like Ramirez and things like that, opposite field, make them drive it over your head to do anything. More times than not, 90% of the time, he's going to hit it in front of you anyway. He's not going to drive it over your head. If he does, then you got to tip your cap. Even though it's a nothing game, you don't want him to do that. But he's not a guy that drives the ball to right field.
And he's down to the count 1-2. Almost hit him on the back foot. Chisenhall, who's been on twice tonight, held by Carter with 2 down here in the 5th. Broke his bat, right back to the mound. Halfway through the ball game, no score in Houston. Tuesday on MLB Whip Around on Fox Sports 1, a live interview with new baseball commissioner Rob Manfred. He'll sit down with Chris Myers to cover a variety of topics as the season gets underway. It's MLB Whip Around at 7 Eastern on Fox Sports 1, also streaming on Fox Sports Go. Here at Minute Maid Park, no score, bottom of the 5th inning. The Astros have had one base runner so far tonight against Corey Kluber, when Colby Rasmus reached on a borderline pitch for a walk in the 3rd. Kluber has struck out 4. Chris Carter, who fly to center, his only time up, cuts and misses. Kluber goes away with that off-speed pitch. That might have been the curveball or the slider.
Well, that's why that first pitch in that first at-bat set it up nicely. You know, it tied him up.
Smothered him, yeah.
Yeah, with that first pitch fastball, and then it's stuff going away.
There's a breaking ball that bounced in front of the plate.
The minute they feel he'll be looking out over the plate for that breaking ball, you run one back in, keep him honest, and you go back outside.
Now, Chris Carter is a big home run threat for Houston. He had 24 homers from July 1st through the end of the season. That was the most in Major League Baseball last year.
Yeah, he can hit him as far as anybody.
There's a high drive, deep right field. Back is Moss, makes the catch right in front of the wall where the Astros bullpen resides for out number 1.
Well, that's where the big man, you see that? I don't know about that selection to call comeback fastball, because they want it away, but it always has a tendency to come back. It was middle of the plate. So he got away with one there. Instead of going away, maybe sweeping it away from him, that ball came back. And he knew he had one to hit, and he gave it a pretty good ride, but it stayed in the ballpark for an out.
And so with 1 down, Jason Castro will be the batter. Struck out his only time up. Off of his foot, went rolling back to the mound. Striking out is something that the Astros would love to see Castro improve on. Over the last 2 years, he's played 246 games, and he has struck out 281 times.
Yes. And you can see the average, just 222 last year. For the number of home runs he hits, no, you want more production.
Which is why probably they went out and got Hank Conger. And, he's going to probably push for more playing time if Castro can't make the necessary adjustments. There's Hank. We saw him for years with the Angels. Bouncer foul. And Kluber ahead 0-2.
Richie Dowry down at first base, their base coach, he realized, okay, here comes that hard ground ball. I let him go now.
You know what? He used to have tremendous hands.
Well,
when he was at the Orioles.
He has tremendous hands, but he's wise now. He says, I'm not going to get a bone bruise on my hand catching a foul ball. I got to coach 162 out here. Yeah, he's their first base coach now. Gary Pettis, their third base coach, came over from the Rangers organization.
Wow. Locked him up over the outside corner. 5th strikeout of the night for Corey Kluber. 2 down in the inning.
Well, here you go. Watch him dropping on the outside. The do not drop. The do drop in right on the outside corner. Beautiful pitch.
I thought you were going to say do not disturb. He hung the tag on his door.
He did that as well.
2 away for Jed Lowry. Bounced out his only time up. I believe this is the only game east of the Rockies still going on. A couple of night games that'll occur later out on the West Coast. Everything else is a final. Line down the left, out of play.
Yeah, there were 14 games in baseball today. Back and alive, back in the groove, huh? I know everybody, all the players are ready. Let's go. Let the season start. Let the bell ring. Make this count. It's a great time of year.
The 1-1 to Lowry. Moved his feet. And a fastball inside. So much optimism. And there's optimism in a lot of places for very good reason. Take the American League Central Division, for example. You could make a pretty convincing case for 4 of the 5 teams to be the Central Division champion at the end of the year.
Yeah. Good things can happen. You're right.
Lowry cuts over the top, and it's 2-2.
You know, there's some very good pitching in the Central. And they lost a couple of good pitchers, too. Scherzer and Shields.
Yeah, you're right. The 2-2. Lowry almost chased after it, but able to hold up. Well, David Price takes over the ace role, if you will, for the Tigers, especially with Justin Verlander on the DL to start the year. And he shut out the Twins as the Tigers won 4-0. Giordano Ventura looked pretty sharp for the Royals before he had to leave the game. So White Sox
replay
only scored 1 run in that game as Kansas City won big 10-1 the final.
Yeah, that was a home run by who else? Abreu.
Yeah, Giordano Ventura left that game. We were watching it.
Looked like a freak accident or a cramp or something.
Yeah. Jed Lowry having a pretty good at bat. And liner. No, short hop by Kipnis. And he throws him out to end the inning. Corey Kluber cruising along through 5. No score in Houston.
Kids Club is designed for dedicated Tribe fans between the ages of 6 and 14. MVPs take part in exclusive events and receive cool gear to add to their collection.
Sixth inning, Michael Bourne going to lead it off for Cleveland. Bourne, Kipnis, and Brantley. Bourne 0 for 2 on the night. And Bourne cuts and misses. Michael is grounded to second. And he is grounded out to short. Yeah, it was a thumb cramp, by the way, that caused Yordano Ventura to leave his start early for Kansas City.
It was so weird because his hand just sort of looked like it was stuck.
Fouled up the first base side by Bourne.
I bet they're thrilled that it was just a cramp.
Yeah.
Here's another guy that just signed a new 5-year deal for Kansas City.
One-two pitch to Bourne and a weak bouncer towards second base. Altuve waits back on it. One away.
Making his pitches.
In-game recap is brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. It has been dominated by pitching thus far. Dallas Keuchel has allowed 1 hit. He has walked 3, but he has also struck out 3. And for Corey Kluber, he has not allowed a hit. He has walked 1. He has struck out 5 on the night. Kluber has now set down 8 in a row. Jason Kipnis takes a strike. Dallas Keuchel retired the first 7 in a row to start the night before Lonnie Chisenhall singled to left field in that 3rd inning. Right back to Keuchel. Another easy play for the Houston left-hander. 2 down.
That's 12 ground ball outs for Keuchel. We said he's the man. Over 3.5 ground ball outs for every fly ball out.
I got one true fly ball.
Yeah, that
out
was
tonight.
Kipnis in the 1st inning, and then that little soft liner by Gomes back to him that was in the air, but it wasn't up more than 5 feet in the air. So he's been true to his numbers. Both these pitchers they're fun to watch.
Yeah, Michael Brantley takes a strike. Brantley has grounded out twice tonight.
You know, and I know that these guys are thinking, okay, he's throwing first pitch strikes. I'm looking for that pitch they want to get after, but he's making quality strikes on that first pitch. He's just not throwing them down the middle.
Brantley sends one pretty well hit to deep left back. Is Rasmus. He makes the over-the-head catch about a stride in front of the wall to rob Brantley of the potential extra bases. And the Indians go 1-2-3 here in the 6th. Another look at the fine play by Colby Rasmus. Still no score. The doubleheader as the Red Sox take on the Yankees in the Bronx, followed by a playoff rematch as the Royals face Mike Trout and the Angels. Coverage begins Saturday at 12:30 Eastern on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
That's a shocker. The first one is the Yankees and the Red Sox already. Holy smokes.
First of many.
Yeah, right. How many?
Yankees got handed a loss today in the home opener in the Bronx. 6-1. Toronto beat them up pretty good. Colby Rasmus leading off, walked his only time up. It's the only base runner for the Astros, and that was questionable at the time. Kluber made what looked to be a couple of really good pitches that didn't get called. That's been it, though, for the Astros. One and one to count.
Well, this has definitely been dominated by the two starting pitchers, and they have been terrific tonight, both of them. Same MO. Get ahead in the count. Get the hitters to swing at their pitch. They've stayed aggressive.
A little bit low.
Very few times have they been behind in the count.
And there's a strike.
See, he went in there the last time up, and they didn't get called inside. This time, his comeback fastball gets called. See where Gomes is sitting more on that plate. That's what you do if you go in there. You make sure you put your glove over there and let Kluber aim inside of that and let it come back.
Fouled right back to the screen, and the count stays 2-2. Got him looking. That's the pitch that he got him earlier in the count to get to 2 strikes with.
Well,
and he comes back to finish him off with it.
This is going to be our McDonald's. I'm loving it because you have to love the location of this pitch. Left-handers give up on that ball because he cuts it in there. He'll throw you inside off the plate, and then when you see one start off in there and it comes back, the left-hander gives up on it, and you got to love that pitch when it works.
Now Jake Marisnick, who grounded out his only time up. You know, you made the point earlier, Rick. We're not seeing many balls thrown in the heart of the plate. These two guys tonight, they don't look like they're making their first start out of spring training.
No.
They look like they're starting a game in the middle of July.
I agree. These guys are both really dealing.
Now Corey Kluber will lead the way for a very young but talented Indians starting rotation. Carlos Carrasco will start game 2 on Wednesday night, and then Trevor Bauer will start the series finale.
But this is how it kicked off in the second half last year. Everybody followed suit for Kluber.
Yeah.
You know, they would feed off him, and he would set the tempo or the pace, whatever you want to call it. He'd go out there and pitch his normal game, and then Carrasco, when he got his chance to start, he followed suit. He wanted to improve on what Kluber did. And then after that, it was Bauer, or it was House, or it was whoever got the opportunity. And that's why the starting rotation was so good the second half.
Bounce foul.
It became a very friendly competition. Those guys were hanging together and learning and talking. And, you know, Mickey Callaway does such a great job with these guys. These guys believe. Now it's just a matter, and I think why so many people are so high on the Indians, is that this young staff has to be one of the cheapest rotations put together, you know, in all of baseball. But the opportunities there. Now these guys got to go prove they can pitch 30 starts. You know, and get out there and get after it for that long.
Swing and a miss. Kluber strikes out Marisnick, and he has fanned 7 Astros now on the night.
He started to click in the 4th inning. Boy, they started to get on the.
Here's our AT&T Uverse rewind, Rick.
Oh, and his last time up when he had Altuve, he fell behind with a man on second and 2 out. There's a 2-0 pitch. But watch his last 3 pitches. There's this breaking the cutter away. Went inside with a good 2-seamer and then got him to chase the breaking ball away after he fell behind 2-0. In what you call a dangerous situation with him up.
Yeah.
He's a tough guy to strike out.
Altuve, the American League batting champ last year.
And that's when it started for him. That's when the strikeout started. He got Altuve for his second one to end the 3rd. Then he had 2 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th. He's got 2 here in the 6th.
Pop towards center. Bourne can't get there. He bloops it in for the first hit of the night for the Astros. And it came with 2 outs here in the 6th inning.
That's okay. There's not much he could do. It wasn't hit hard. And he.
Within player profile on Jose Altuve. I think what's really interesting about Altuve, all of those hits, the batting average, he led the league with stolen bases, and yet he scored 85 runs, which was outside the top 15 in the American League.
Well, keep your eye on him here because he'll take off if given an opportunity. He doesn't wait long. Maybe hold it on him.
He's off and running. Gomes gets rid of it quickly, but not in time. He did about everything humanly possible there, and Altuve still steals the base.
Well, and I'll tell you, Kluber held the ball on him, made him wait. So you steal it. Guys like this that are that good, you see, he wanted to go. Just another split second, he would have been flat-footed. But this guy outruns the ball. Nothing Gomes could do there. You steal a base off the pitcher, and that's who he got it off of. But Gomes made it close. So there you go. You got a runner in scoring position. That's what he brings to a ball club.
He's in scoring position, but there are 2 outs. George Springer 0 for 2 on the night. And the count 0-1. The sellout crowd finally something to at least applaud. They've been anxiously waiting for something to happen to erupt over, but Kluber has just completely shut down the Astros before the 2-out bloop single by Altuve here in the 6th. Only the 2nd base runner of the game for Houston. Inside corner and a beauty. Springer, you could see him throw his hands up. He just gave up on it. Rolls over the inside corner.
I'll tell you, when you have hitters shaking their heads up there in the batter's box, they don't know what to look for. This one sort of looked like a backup cutter. You know, normally he likes to throw those ones away. And that one's had a tendency to back up. I can't explain it. And that's why he's shaking his head up there thinking, I can't believe it. That might be the first one he's thrown like that tonight.
Hit hard, and it's by Ramirez. Brantley comes up throwing. Altuve to the plate, throws way offline, and the Astros take the lead. Chisenhall running Springer back to first. Santana down to second. Kipnis tags him out to end the inning. But George Springer comes up in the clutch with a 2-out RBI single, and the Astros have a 1-0 lead through 6 innings of play here tonight at Minute Maid Park.
to you by Kia. Visit mykiacleveland.com to learn more. By Levin Mattress, located in all Levin furniture and freestanding locations. And by AT&T Uverse, has more channels on the go than cable.
Well, Jose Altuve making something happen for the Astros with 2 outs. And George Springer driving them home with a clutch RBI hit, and the Astros lead it 1-0. And we go now to the 7th inning, where Dallas Keuchel has shut down the Indians on just 1 hit tonight. He has walked 3, but they haven't hurt him.
Ground ball has been his specialty tonight, the ground ball outs.
Carlos Santana has struck out and walked on the night. And takes a first pitch strike. Santana lines one into left field over toward the line. Colby Rasmus cuts it off, and he'll hold Santana to a long leadoff single. So the Indians have their second hit of the night. Leadoff man aboard for the second time in the game.
Yeah, back-to-back innings now. Santana going to get the base hit. There's one of the breaking balls that stayed out over the plate. It was a loopy one for Santana to get to. Normally they were going down and into the right-handers earlier. That one stayed out and gave him a little swinging room, and he lined it to left field.
Dallas Keuchel, you see, 88 pitches on the night. Left-hander Tony Sipp is getting loose in the Houston bullpen. Yan Gomes 0 for 2 in the ball game. Grounds one to third. It's a fair ball diving stop by Valbuena. Gets up and throws not in time. And the Indians have back-to-back hits to open the 7th inning, but almost robbed of one on a spectacular diving stop by Valbuena at the hot corner.
Well, he saved a base at least because Santana would have been on third base if he doesn't catch the ball. Gomes might have been on second because Rasmus can get over there and cover it. But what a play. That ball stayed up on him. And he tries to make the throw. Gomes beats it out. What a beautiful play. He saves at least one base. Santana should be at least first and third, possibly could have been second and third. But it's back-to-back singles, and out comes Brent Strom, the pitching coach.
Now we mentioned Keuchel is closing in on that 90-pitch mark. There's Tony Sipp, former Indian, getting loose for Houston. This was an Astros bullpen that a year ago nobody who roots for the Astros wanted to see. They had their problems. They were the worst bullpen in baseball. So Dallas Keuchel has given up back-to-back hits now here in the 7th inning, and that leaves A.J. Hinch to wonder how long you stay with your guy.
That bullpen last year, they blew 54 saves. And 28 of them with leading after 7 innings. So they're going into the 7th right now with a 1-0 lead, and the Indians trying to mount a comeback here. First and second, nobody out.
Brandon Moss has struck out and walked on the night. He's in a big spot here for the Tribe in his Indians debut, and he fouls it straight back. Down in the dirt. Well, Moss gets back to even in the count of 1-1.
See, the one thing about Keuchel, though, he's had the ground ball, 12 ground ball outs. He's one pitch away from getting 2 outs. That's why you like those guys on the mound.
And a strike is called over the outside corner.
Going to get a fastball down, away. Good pitch. Good pitcher's pitch.
Moss lays off a breaking ball that's out of the strike zone. And again, the count back to even at 2-2. Pretty good battle here as Keuchel nears the end of his night. And Moss, knowing this is a big moment for the Indians to try to answer after the Astros scoring the first run of the game in the top half or in the bottom half of the 6th. Swing and a foul. He got a piece of it to stay alive. Woo.
Just barely. Thought I heard a tip. And you'll see where Castro cannot hold on to it. Does it hit the ground first? It was close, borderline. Almost his thumb had to hit the thumb of the catcher's glove.
So Moss, new life with 2 on, nobody out. Santana at second, Gomes at first. And a breaking ball in the dirt, he chased after it. 1 down here in the 7th. Moss, a strikeout victim for the 2nd time tonight. 4 Ks in the game for Keuchel.
Yeah, right there, Moss. He realized I swung at a bad pitch. Upset with himself. He wanted to take off, but runners on first and second can go nowhere.
Now up comes Ryan Rayburn, who's 0 for 2. He grounded into a double play his last time up. Ball down low. Astros outfield really shading Rayburn more like an opposite field hitter.
Well,
Rasmus
Ryan
way
loves
off the line and left.
He loves a fastball, can hit a fastball, but Keuchel giving him, he's showing him the fastball and attacking with that changeup. There was a fastball right there. But when you attack him with the off-speed stuff, you start trying to sit on it. That's when he throws his fastball. He's mixed his pitches beautifully tonight.
Trey Hillman, the bench coach, conversing with A.J. Hinch as he closes in on 100 pitches for the night. Rayburn awaits the 1-1, and it's low and outside. Spin move, but Santana not that far off the bag.
Well, good to keep him that step closer defensively.
And away a bit. 3-1.
Now the patience has to come for Rayburn. Get something that you like in the pitch that you're looking for. You know, in this situation, he may want to sit on something off speed, that changeup or something, but hard to do when you're a hitter. You're looking for that #1. You don't want to get beat with that pitch.
Rayburn caught in between.
That's what I'm talking about.
Full count.
To me, looked like he was looking for the off-speed pitch, but chased that fastball. If you're looking for the off-speed pitch, you got to lay off the fastball. And that was borderline up and out over the plate. So if you're looking fastball, you get after it, but he was in between.
Payoff pitch is fouled away to the right.
That's the old guessing game right there. That's how good he's been today. He's got him guessing.
Well, he threw it 3-1. He threw it 3-2. Does he come back with it again, or does he try to go to the off speed?
I'd say go with a changeup. 3-2. See if you get him to roll over on it.
See what Rayburn is looking for. Again, the payoff pitch.
That's what it was.
A little tapper, second time in the game. Keuchel's got to make a perfect throw, and he does. Twice tonight, Rayburn has topped a ball up the third base line, and both times Keuchel has come off the mound to make the play himself.
Yeah, the first one was a little closer to the line. That one was very similar. And he came back with the changeup and got him to top it. He just didn't hit it hard enough to go anywhere. But Keuchel's happy to say, give me the out. But a base hit here now by Chisenhall could give the Indians a lead.
Well, Lonnie Chisenhall is a perfect 2 for 2 in terms of getting on base tonight. He singled in the third, walked in the fifth. First base is open. Jose Ramirez, the number 9 hitter, on deck. Ronnie shot one by third baseman Luis Valbuena back in the third. A little topper back to the mound. Another easy play for Keuchel. The Indians open the seventh with back-to-back singles, but they can't do anything with them. We've reached the seventh inning stretch here in Houston with the Astros leading it 1-0. It's time now for the seventh inning stretch, brought to you by Spitzer Auto World. The Astros lead it by a score of 1-0 as we go to the bottom of the seventh inning, and here is how it happened. There were two outs in the bottom of the sixth, nobody on base. Jose Altuve just bloops one into center field.
And wasted no time. He took off on the very first pitch, steals at second base, first one of the year. And then next thing you know, Springer gets a base hit. And I'll tell you, Brantley had a golden opportunity to throw him out, but that throw was way off line. That ball got to Michael before Altuve got the third. They were very aggressive to send him and force a throw because first game, the arms aren't in tip-top shape. Little offline. They ended up scoring as Springer got the run down. They get the out, but that's the only run of the ball game.
And Dallas Keuchel has made it stand up through his 7 innings of work, even though the Indians had back-to-back hits to open the seventh inning and a great chance to come right back and answer, but he gets a strikeout and a couple of little balls that were just topped right back in his general direction. I mean, how about Dallas Keuchel? Not only did he pitch great tonight, he ends the game with 5 assists and 1 unassisted put out as well. I say ends the night because I assume his night is over, but we'll wait and see.
Yeah, the way he's pitching. I know it's game 1. You don't want to go over there and go over that 100 pitch mark by too much. First time out of the chute, but he has been great tonight. So is this guy.
Corey Kluber has given up just 2 hits himself. But unfortunately, it cost him the game's only run. He'll be facing 3, 4, and 5 hitters for the Astros here in the 7th. Luis Valbuena, Evan Gattis, and Chris Carter. Best day of the year, hard to argue. Opening day.
It is for him. Look at him in the orange shirt. He's rocking and rolling.
And here in Houston, Rick, 43,753, a sellout crowd for game 1.
Well, little will be said after this ball game, but after that, the second hit for the Indians in that inning on Gomes, this guy, Valbuena, made a play that saved the base. It would have been first and third and nobody out. And it could have been a little different situation.
Well, Valbuena grounded out in the first, struck out in the 4th. Sends a fly ball center field. Michael Bourne makes the catch, 1 away. Here's Al Pulaski with a Mazda game break. All right, thanks, Al. One out. Here is Evan Gattis, who has fly to left and lined to left. A little bit high for ball one. Up the middle, but Kipnis was shading him there. 2 down.
Download MLB's free ballpark app courtesy of KeyBank to unlock special offers, including merchandise discounts. The app also lets fans purchase tickets, transfer tickets to friends, and more. You can visit Indians.com ballpark app and you can learn more about it.
Chris Carter has flied to center and deep to right. Just off the outside corner, ball one. You know, the Astros made a move at the end of camp, electing to send John Singleton to the minor leagues. He's a young player with great potential, but strikes out a ton. There's good power in that bat, but you know, a lot of people just feel like he's just not quite ready. Needs a little more time in the minor leagues. General manager Jeff Lou now, and so they made that move. Here's the problem, though. Chris Carter is going to have to play maybe a lot of first base. He only played 14 games at first last year. He was their primary DH.
Yeah.
So, well, we'll see if he's able to handle the duties on a daily basis at first. Evan Gattis has worked out some of the outfield, but they figure primarily he'll be in the DH role.
Looks like he's going to get the bulk of it. Can always make a change if it doesn't work out.
1-2 pitch. Kluber's curveball way off the mark. And the count even at 2-2. Corey has struck out 7 Astros here tonight. Gomes wants the curveball again. Throws a much better one this time. Popped over toward the seats and out of play. And the count's still 2 balls, 2 strikes. Carter with a combined 66 homers over the last 2 seasons. Off the end of the bat, just did get a piece of that, and now Gomes wants to go out to chat it up with Corey Kluber.
Maybe he wants to figure if they want to try and come inside. It's 2-2 count. They want to try and go in on his fist one last time because they've been away. He's been able to foul. They jammed him when he fouled that ball off. So go out and talk with him and see how you want to go about it. You don't want to make a mistake to this guy.
Two pitch. And a liner to third, snapped by Chisenhall, and the inning is over. Houston goes in order. We go to the 8th. It remains the Astros 1 and the Indians nothing. And may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians. Houston 1, Cleveland nothing. 8th inning now here at Minute Maid Park. And today's Cleveland Clinic call to the bullpen brings Tony Sipp into the fray. As bad as Houston's bullpen was a year ago, Tony Sipp should be excluded from that conversation because he posted one of the best seasons for a reliever in Astros history. Second lowest opponent's batting average by a reliever. Only Billy Wagner had done better. Opposition batted just $157 off of him last year.
Well, he's made at least 50 appearances in his last 5 straight seasons. So, you know, he's a matchup guy. He'll come out and get his work in, and he's here to face Ramirez and then to the top of the lineup.
Jose 0 for 2 tonight. This is the one thing that Terry Francona gave a lot of thought to and understands that when you've got 3 consecutive left-handed hitters in your lineup, you know you're going to see somebody's left-handed specialist late in the ballgame. But with Bourne, Kipnis, and Brantley, those are the guys that he wants at the top of his lineup. 2-0 the count is. Ramirez tries to get the Indians started here in the 8th, taking all the way. It's in for a strike.
Now in the 5th and the 7th inning, the Indians were able to get their leadoff man aboard. They had their first 2 aboard last inning.
And the 2-1 from Tony Sipp. And a fastball fouled out of play.
Well, for Dallas Keuchel, he did his job tonight. In the 7 innings, 3 hits. He walked 3, struck out 4, and was a ground ball machine. 14 ground ball outs,
of which he had 5 assists from his pitching position.
Another very good start by him against the Indians.
And now first-year manager A.J. Hinch, first year here in Houston. He did manage briefly with the Diamondbacks previously. He's trying to get 6 outs from his bullpen and preserve a victory in game 1. Swing and a miss. Ramirez strikes out. Chased what looked like was probably ball 3. Time for the Hyundai in-game box score. Indians have managed just 3 hits in the ball game. First one came off the bat of Lonnie Chisenhall. The other 2 back-to-back singles in the 7th by Santana and Gomes, and that's been it. Michael Bourne is 0 for 3. Tony Sipp delivers a fastball for strike 1. Sipp began his Astros career last year by retiring the first 20 batters to begin the year.
Well, he never made it here till May at some time, so he endured himself early, didn't he? Well, sometimes when you move around from club to club, didn't make it in Arizona, went to San Diego, then comes over here to Houston. You know, you better put up or shut up or you could be gone. And he did that. Came over here. You never know if it was going to be your last chance. But.
Well, you remember back in 2010 with the Indians, he appeared in 70 games. And just the year before, he had made his major league debut with the Tribe, had a 2.93 ERA in 46 games back in 2009. Now a 1-2 from Tony Sipp to Michael Bourne. Just missed, and the count evens up.
Well, Michael Bourne does not bite. That ball spinning down and out of the strike zone. Tried to get him to chase the slider. Wouldn't do it.
Now foul right back. That ball had some running action away. Bourne did well just to get a piece.
Well, when you get to 2 strikes and that pitcher makes a good pitch, when you're swinging the bat well and good hitters, they have a tendency to foul off the tough pitches to stay alive in hopes that he makes a mistake. Instead of trying to do more with it than you can. You get to 2 strikes, give in a little bit. Make them work that much harder. Foul off pitches.
Little check swing foul. Dallas Keuchel began this night for Houston by retiring the first 7 Indians in a row. Lonnie Chisenhall got the game's first hit with 1 out in the 3rd. But the Indians would not get another hit until back-to-back singles to open the 7th inning. But they've been unable to crack the scoreboard. 2-2. Swing and a miss. Tony Sipp strikes out the first 2 here in the 8th. Stay tuned after the game for Indians Live, brought to you by Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care. Two gone for Jason Kipnis, who is 0 for 3 on the night. He has grounded out twice. He has flied to left. Michael Brantley would be next. Kipnis drives one to left, right at Kobe Rasmus. And the Indians go in order. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. Still 1-0 Houston. And as we promised earlier, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. And American League Cy Young Award winner Corey Kluber picking up where he left off, striking out 7 Astros in the first 6 innings here tonight. He's given up just 1 run on only 2 hits. He walked 1 batter, but he's on the short end because Dallas Keuchel matched him and has not allowed a single run. And now Tony Sipp pitched a scoreless 8th.
Well, Houston has been able to do it with 2 outs and nobody on. They got the Altuve base hit, a stolen base, and a single. So he's going to try and hold it right here and give his offense 1 more opportunity here in the 9th.
Jason Castro has struck out twice tonight. That's the pitch that he was called out on in the 5th inning. That little backdoor breaking ball. This one just missing for ball 1. To left field. Brantley makes the grab. 1 away. Now Jed Lowry, the switch hitting shortstop, who is 0 for 2 on the night. It has been a terrific pitcher's duel on an opening night here in Houston. And the Indians, if Kluber can get through without allowing any more damage, they've got one last shot against, it would appear to be Luke Gregerson, Astros closer.
Their new closer that they signed in the offseason. Right now, Kluber at 95 pitches. So seems like he can maintain his stuff, get through this inning, and at least get 1 more opportunity.
Now the 1-1, up and away. There is Luke Gregerson. Pitched in 72 games a year ago. He's made at least 70 appearances 5 of the last 6 seasons, so he's been pretty durable. Right now the 2-1 pitch, and it's up high, 3 balls and a strike. Indians bullpen ready if needed, as Kluber closes in on 100 pitches for the night. Strike called outside corner. Lowry thought it was ball 4. And a payoff pitch, fouled on the right side.
Yeah, when you're a hitter up there and you feel like, okay, you took one from you, could have been ball 4 and on first base. You got to regroup and be ready to go. You can't get upset because you don't want to make that last out. He's trying to get on base and keep it going here with 1 out. And he fouled the ball off hard. You got to total concentration. There you go. And then he got to his walk.
A little bit low, ball 4. So 1 on, 1 out. Colby Rasmus coming up. Left-hander Nick Hagedorn ready in the Tribe bullpen. Right-hander Scott Atchison up. But Terry Francona and Mickey Callaway going to stay with Corey Kluber. Rasmus has walked and struck out tonight. Kluber just now at the 100 pitch mark. First pitch strike. Indians, even with the runner at first, have a 3-man shift right side of the infield. Chisenhall stays over on the left side. Line to right, base hit. Lowry on his way to third. Moss cutting it off. And Astros at the corners with 1 out.
Well, he beat that shift because he got it between Kipnis and Santana. He gets the ball middle in and didn't get in enough, and he gets it just past Santana into right field, and they are able to put runners on the corners. And double play is around, but Terry Francona going to take a walk.
So Corey Kluber goes 7 1/3 in his 2015 season debut. Gives up 1 run on 3 hits. A couple of walks. He'll depart responsible for the 2 men on base. We've got a timeout in Houston. Indians had a chance to score back in the 7th inning with their first 2 on.
That was a beautiful play there by Valbuena, and then he gets the strikeout of Moss, getting him to chase that pitch. And then 2 easy tap outs. He comes off the mound to make that one for Rayburn a second time in the game, and then Chisenhall right back to him. A really easy play, and that diffused that inning.
Yeah, that was really the Indians' best chance in the game. Now Scott Atchison, who worked in 70 games a year ago, part of a very, very stingy Indians bullpen.
Well, he's looking for a ground ball double play as well. Trying to pick up his starter, Kluber.
Indians bring the infield part way in, as you see there.
Yeah, this could be a right at him. You go double play. If not, you try and cut off the run at home plate, because Rasmus can steal a base on you for you now. So they could start the runner with this guy at the plate. Try and make something happen here. We'll see how A.J. Hinch wants to play, but at the number 9 hole.
Fly ball right field, plenty deep enough you would think. Moss is under it, makes the catch. He's throwing towards home plate, but offline, and Lowry scores standing to make it 2-0 Houston. Big insurance run for the Astros.
Yeah, a little extra breathing room right there now. 2 men aboard for the Indians. gets his job done. So that run will be tacked on to Kluber, so he gives up 2.
And with 2 down, Jose Altuve, the batter, 1 for 3 on the night. You know, A.J. Hinch, who is the manager for the Astros, was the skipper for the Diamondbacks for part of 2009 and part of 2010. And at 34 years old, by far the youngest manager in baseball. And now, 5 years later, he's just the second youngest manager in baseball, only because Kevin Cash was hired by Tampa Bay in the offseason.
He's still only 40 years old. Cash, of course, is about 36, 37, something like that.
AJ spent the last 4 years as the assistant general manager for San Diego. In tight. 1-1. You talked about the Astros, a logical next step in their development as a team, as an organization, get to that 500 mark. If you take away their dreadful start and their flat finish, they were a 500 club just a year ago. 56 and 57 from May 11th through September the 15th.
Well, that's where some veterans sort of help you get over that hump and steady you throughout the course of the year. You know, you try and you get away from those highs and lows. It's a lot of work. I mean, when you're with a young team and they have the lowest payroll right now, I think the second lowest payroll in all of baseball, it's, you know, it doesn't come quickly. You know, young guys have to learn, but they've added a few veterans now.
And even with that, I think they're still third or fourth youngest team on average in baseball. Two balls and a strike.
Only 4 years older than one of the guys coming out of their bullpen, Chad Qualls.
Ground ball is short. Ramirez goes to Kipnis for the inning-ending force. Astros tack one on, and we go to the ninth in Houston. The Indians down 2. The Indians bring the lumber here in the ninth inning. So far tonight, not a lot of that. Here's our Yellowwood bringing the lumber. Play of the game. Yan Gomes was looking for a double. But Valbuena held him to a single, and that could have changed the course of the game, because if that gets down the line, it's at least a double, and who knows how the rest of the inning plays out.
Well, right. And Santana was on first. He had to stay at second base, so that did have an impact in the ball game. So we will see. Now it's down to their last 3 outs, and they're going to get a look at their new closer.
Yeah, Luke Gregerson will come on and try to nail down the save for the Astros here tonight. He'll be having to face the Indians 3, 4, and 5 hitters. Told you last year, pitching 72 games with Oakland. And look, I'm sure A.J. Hinch had to do some psychological repair to his ball club, because last year it was a bullpen that led the majors in blown saves. Their ERA collectively was 4.80. That was the worst in Major League Baseball. So maybe by just changing some roles, moving some people around, try something different, see if it works.
Well, you got to try something different, and you hope they get off to a good start to get some confidence, because you don't want them second guessing already. But they blew more saves than anybody with leading after 7 innings last year.
Michael Brantley might have the hardest hit ball of the game for Cleveland, and that ended up as an out back in the 6th inning. He drove one to deep left field, and Colby Rasmus and a nice catch. Roller to first. 1 away. Looking back at our keys to the game, brought to you by Wayside Furniture. Looking for Bourne to stir the drink, but nothing doing tonight for Michael at the top of the lineup. Altuve didn't do much, but his 2-out bloop single and then a stolen base led to the first run of the game in the 6th. Defensively, the Indians have played just fine. It's been a classic pitcher's duel. And so far, the Astros have been a little bit better. Santana rolls one. Altuve kicks it around a little bit, but has plenty of time to recover. 2 down. Stay tuned after the game for Indians Live, brought to you by Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care. Al Pulaski and our man Jensen Lewis will be standing by to recap the ball game. This one won't be real hard to recap. Yan Gomes. His base hit back in the 7th. One of only 3 Indians hits in the game. As Luke Gregerson has a chance for a 1-2-3 9th inning. Off the plate, and it's going to go foul. Astros are 1 strike away from nailing down the win. There's Yan Gomes trying to extend the game for Cleveland. Off day tomorrow. We're back in action on Wednesday night with the 2nd game of the series. 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, and the game is over. The Astros shut out the Indians on opening night by a final score of 2-0. Dallas Keuchel with 7 3-hit shutout innings gets the win. Tony Sipp 1 scoreless inning in relief, and then Luke Gregerson a 1-2-3 9th nails down his first save. Corey Kluber, the tough luck loser here tonight. He went 7 1/3, allowed 2 runs on 3 hits, walked 2, struck out 7. But that's the way it goes tonight for the Indians in the opener as Houston blanks the Tribe. We'll be back to wrap it up right after this.